John Castro here. Hope you're ready for part one of our beach body workout. Leslie's going to be here with me demonstrating all of our exercises. This workout has a strong emphasis on your upper body mainly, along with your core. So Leslie's about to start a chest press exercise with dumbbells on her back. Now a couple things you notice as she's going through these repetitions. If you watch, the dumbbells tend to stay in line with my arm here, coming directly across her chest. Because if she went higher with the dumbbells up towards her head, she would actually impinge the shoulders. So that's really one of the key things you need to watch for. And also, you may not be able to see it as well from the side, but she's keeping her wrists directly over her elbows as opposed to folding dumbbells in. It's really important to keep joint over joint as you go through the motion in an arcing manner. You can also do what we're going to progress to, which is the same exact movement on an exercise ball. Now this requires a lot more core strength and stability, but it gets that same benefit from the upper body through the chest press motion while engaging our core through the whole time period. As you can see from that side angle again, she's still in line with her chest, directly over my arm. She's doing a great job at that. Where she's really challenging, she needs to keep that core engaged the whole time. Not hyperextended to the point where she's going to hurt her back, but right here where she's level like a board. Her head's resting back on the ball, her neck's being supported there. You want it right about here between your shoulder blades, as you can see right here. The way she supports her core as she goes through these presses with a real strong focus on the upper body is by digging through her heels to engage her core right here. For our next exercise, we have alternating dumbbell rows. Leslie's doing a great job so far of a couple key things here. Keeping her spine completely straight. You see how she's not rounding her back out? That puts your lower back at a lot of risk there. Also doing a great job tucking her elbows in right along her body, right along her rib cage. You should drag a little bit along your body. She's pulling one at a time, stabilizing her hips, not a lot of shifting going on. Now, the other thing you need to be thinking about as you go through this exercise is if you're not getting enough core work out of it, and it's getting a little too easy up top with the arms, all you would have to do is take a couple baby steps back, and that will offset your balance a little bit more as you're going one at a time, and challenge your core more throughout the whole exercise. The progression for this, if you feel like you're not getting that core challenge out of it, is to go freestanding completely. Where you're really challenged here is stabilizing your hips in position as you go through the motion. Because there's going to be that tendency as you fatigue up top, rowing one at a time, that you're actually going to want to start to round the back and the hips are going to come towards me. But that's why you want to keep driving your butt and hips back straight to the wall and exaggerating your spine through this whole motion. This is a more advanced move. You can see here that right before we go into our plank position, she's going to start with the modified one. And the best way to get into a plank position, especially if you're just starting out, is to go into what I call the book reading position from the floor. So see how she was completely flat, spread out from all the way? Now she needs to shift forward a little bit more so her weight's evenly distributed. She's flat like a board here, picking the hips up a little bit. Right there, good. She can feel it right here in the core. Shouldn't feel any pain in your lower back. You can also see that her shoulders are just about directly over her elbows. That's another thing you want to look for. You don't want to see your elbows really far out in front of you. That puts a lot of strain on your shoulder. It's going to challenge your shoulders, but have it in a safe manner so it's joint over joint. Her knees are down, locked out right there. When she's ready to progress to the full plank, she's going to dig her toes into the ground and literally just lift her knees up. And that's a great plank right there. Head still neutral, spine is completely straight. Another great way to test our upper body strength is by going to an elevated push-up position. Now Leslie chose the couch arm. Not super high, but definitely enough to still give her a great workout from this. So she's going to plant that front foot in and engage her core so nothing moves but her arms, right? The front foot is there for support, so because this is pretty tough for your upper body to handle this much of an angle and challenge. Spine's perfectly straight. Everything looks good here. Now what she could do to progress is put her feet together, which may be a little bit difficult. Let's see if she can get one out right here, and she presses through. Beautiful. Now if you really want to push it to the next level, if you have great upper body strength, you always try to raise one leg up a little bit and then do the same back motion. For our bird dog rows, Leslie's going to be doing a very similar movement to the elevated rows, what she was doing off the side of the couch earlier. For this move, you're going to start out with your knees directly underneath your hips, still doing the same motion. Keep your elbows tucked in right along the rib cage as you row one at a time, challenging that core. Spine completely aligned, head's neutral, not looking up and forward. You can also notice that as you progress, or even maybe that you start out, you're not getting a whole lot of core work out of this. So what she's going to do to upgrade this to a more challenging exercise and engage your core more, she's going to set both weights down for a second and step knees back one at a time right there. That's going to be a lot harder as she starts to row right here. She's going to have to find her balance. She wants to focus on stabilizing her hips as much as possible. Right there, one at a time. You don't want to get too much rock in the hips. You're going to really feel this in your core. Leslie's about to start the Superman position, which is going to be isometric hold. You're going to hold this for time. You're not going to rock up and down. As you can see, this is the more basic version because the arms are back. It's a little bit easier to lift up and engage your lower back here and your spine. She's squeezing with the glutes. Legs are still heads neutral. Now when she's ready to progress this into more advanced move, she's going to bring the arms all the way around and reach straight out, hence the name Superman. Same thing, she's not going to want to lift her head up, which is going to be the initial tendency to compensate and help those shoulders stay up. You're going to hold this. This is a goal of 60 seconds before you progress on. Leslie's about to start the laying back tricep extensions. Couple key points here. She wants to make sure as she goes back that her elbows don't go anywhere because it's strictly your forearms kicking through, wrists locked out. She's also not bowing out away from her body. This portion of her arm literally stays in place. Forearms lower and extend right about 90 degrees. So here's our core challenging bicep curls. It may seem like a simple exercise, but she's actually fighting a lot to keep her spine straightened out. If she really wanted to make it difficult, she would actually lean back a little bit more. Requires a lot of core strength, especially your lower back needs to be really strong to do this movement while stabilizing with your core. So it's just a basic bicep curl. Elbows stay pretty much locked out. She comes right about 1/4 of an inch away from the floor as she tries to keep her core engaged, spine straight in line. Now for one of the most dynamic core challenging exercises, the side to side reach with a dumbbell or any sort of resistance weight is definitely one of the best ways to challenge your core in a safe way. She's really focusing on keeping her spine straight in line. She's not rounding the back and leaning into it. And she's not shifting her hips either. She's simply moving her arms from side to side. Try to keep her shoulders actually squared up as much as possible. You're seeing very minimal turn with either shoulder. Do a great job at this. Now if you have the progression for it, it requires a lot of core strength, but you can pick up the legs, which Leslie's not going to do right now. But when I say a lot of strength is required, I mean it. Also need a lot of flexibility, because if your hamstrings are over tight, that's going to be something that's going to start to pull on your lower back right away.